Jimmy said he could handle this. Oh, he's from Los Angeles. Oh.
Welcome to episode 26 of the Let's Go podcast. My name is Justin.
My name's Kelly.
We're excited to talk to you today. We have so much to go over, but first, we've got good friends. We've actually got rad friends.
We got rad friends, rad friends, rad friends.
So with us today is our good friend Chris Qualls. How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Of course.
Yes. So getting into it, though, as a good guest usually does, brings a treat, right? Chris, what did you bring us today?
Well, as a fan of the show, I have heard numerous reviews of yours of the different beers that you guys pick up. And I thought, I'm not a big beer drinker. Why don't we, qualify it a little bit? And I brought some whiskey.
Up the quality, quality.
Totally.
Is it qualsified?
Anyway, so I brought a special whiskey from Park City, Utah, from the brewing company High West. It's their silver whiskey. It's actually kind of clear, which you whiskey drinkers know is a little bit abnormal.
Western Oat. It did throw me for a loop for a second. I thought he brought vodka for him, and I was like, why? What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, this is really good.
It is. It's quite tasty.
Yeah, what'd you mix it with?
I mixed mine and yours, Justin, with ginger beer, and then I mixed Kelly's with lemon LaCroix.
Sparkly lemon water.
Can I get a sip of your LaCroix?
Yeah.
Let me try that. I really like how it tastes with the ginger beer. So
You definitely taste the, having tasted the whiskey without a mixer, you definitely taste it more with a LaCroix just because there's not so much gingerness.
I think I prefer it with the ginger beer.
Yeah, a little bit of sugar really complements the silver whiskey.
It's
Try it
delicious.
with
No.
Wow, he's sold. Kelly is sticking to what he knows. That's good, man. This is really good. Like, I don't drink a lot of whiskey. Maybe I should.
I'm not here to promote alcoholism, but it is pretty good.
It is really good. That's awesome. So, can you go into any maybe specialty store like a La Bodega and pick this up, or is it hard to come by? Is it just local to Utah?
It is available in some shops. One time I was actually at La Bodega and noticed that they did have the regular High West whiskey. Mm-hmm. And I know for a little bit, Costco was carrying the big bottles of regular High West. I know Lindsay picked this up actually in Park City before she moved out to Los Angeles as a Christmas present. So I'm not sure about this specific one. I feel like it's probably pretty local to the Salt Lake City, Park City area. So I really wanted to bring something that you guys...
That's a good lady, though. She brings you whiskey for Christmas.
Oh, best lady.
Heck yeah.
But I figured Lindsay and I usually save it for celebrations and when good things happen that we, need fancy whiskey to celebrate. And I figured this was as good as an occasion as any. I get to hang out with you guys and be, part of episode 26.
Bing, bang, boom.
Hey, this is really cool. So they have a gastro distillery. So if you're in Old Town Park City, stop by or ski to enjoy their Western comfort food.
Yeah, well, Park City's a ski town up above Salt Lake City in the mountains. I've actually been on a tour of this distillery. One of my friends, who's a promoter in Salt Lake City, used to work at the distillery, and one time I was out there with another one of my friends, and she took me on a tour of it, and it was fun.
Well, tasting tour? Do they give you is it like a brewery tour where they take you to the tasting room and you have little
flights and stuff? Yeah.
Wow. You probably walk away a little more schwasty on on a distillery tour.
Oh yeah.
Drink responsibly.
Yes, of course.
There you go. Awesome.
Not advocating that.
Not at all, but we are advocating trying some of this. This is really good.
Sure. So what's your guys' official rating on this? Let's go.
I'm going to give it a let's go and a half. It's almost a gotta go just because of I've never seen a clear whiskey, and it was pretty tasty without even mixing it. So
yeah, I would say it's
pretty solid.
Yeah, I'll give it a gotta go just for the deliciousness of it. Straight up, straight up, it's really tasty.
Yeah.
So if you're ever like, oh man, I don't drink a lot of whiskey, like I think if even as like to ease somebody into whiskey, this would be a good, I don't know, transition. Transition.
He's looking for a word. He's like,
yeah, I can think of, there you go. It's a good transitional. I like it a lot. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a cool bottle too.
Yeah. I was gonna say the bottle is beautiful. I like bottles.
It's like very opalesque.
It's very nice.
It's got
some texture on it. So
it looks like a rainbow.
If you were a blind connoisseur of whiskey, you'd be like, oh, this is. You'd know what you're looking for.
If you were the Daredevil.
If you were the Daredevil.
It does have some nice etchings and some nice engravings in it. So
yeah,
recommended for blind whiskey fans everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, did we just write High West's new marketing scheme?
I think we did. There you go.
We might have. Now we just got to come up with the jingle.
But
speaking of blindness and Daredevil, I did bring it up.
Oh, look at
where are we at on season 2?
I'm halfway.
You're halfway.
I have been trying to ration it out because I have a tendency because
binge.
I have an addictive personality. So I have a tendency to watch all of them all at once. So I had to specifically ration it out 1 or 2 episodes per day when I had time. Where I'm at, they just finished the Punisher arc, or maybe he comes back, but
wait, let's cut real quick. There's spoilers, everybody. If you haven't seen Daredevil, shame on you. And there we go. Continue. Sorry.
Punisher's in it, which you should know. Yeah, the last thing I saw was at the very end of the episode, Elektra just appeared on his couch.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Okay.
So you're,
you're about halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2 episodes left of season 2, and just mind blown.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's so good. It's like my favorite of the Marvel stuff that they're doing.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. I mean, I've really liked some of the Marvel movies, like Winter Soldier was great. I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, those are my 2 favorites. Yeah.
But Daredevil just does it for me. It's like, it's definitely, you guys know, obviously a little darker than the typical Marvel movie or TV show.
Yeah.
But not quite to the point where it like loses all of its humor and fun,
Yeah.
I feel like they struck up a good balance, and I'm excited to see the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I burned through in like 3 days. I was like, I'm going to try to ration this one out because I still didn't even finish Jessica Jones, and I finished season 2 of Daredevil. So after Daredevil, I was like, okay, let me finish up Jessica Jones now. But I really liked it. I can't say, oh God, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just so eager for season 3 now. I'm like, I almost don't want them to make that Defender show. I just make more Daredevil shows, like, and do it every 6 months because.
Yeah. So we have to literally wait another year before.
Probably. I don't know. I hope he secretly shows up in Civil War, like he's just swinging by or something. Like, hey, there's Daredevil. How you doing? I don't know. Like, well, it's probably not going to happen, but I would just like to see him.
So you brought up Civil War.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen the most recent trailer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Thoughts? Yes. Your thought.
So, I was just making sure. Right. I was just making sure.
Wait, okay, so like, let's go back. So overall, like Daredevil season 2, where are you at? If you had to rate it right now.
If I had to rate it, gotta go.
Yeah,
for
gotta
sure.
go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sounds like it's unanimous.
Definitely.
Yeah, I want to break it down more. But okay, so I'm sure by next week or in a couple weeks you'll finish it off.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to get our thoughts on that. So,
yeah,
okay.
Here's a question for you guys.
Yeah, please.
The stairwell scene.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's like the hallway scene from number 1.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you like it more than the hallway scene?
Okay, so I talked about this with some people the other day, and it almost feels like it's like the obligatory, like, okay, how do we one up the hallway scene? What I would say is
we go vertical.
We go vertical, and we add a chain. It's like they took the chain fight from the last season, and like they combined it. All I'm going to say to you guys is, well, is wait. There's still one more scene involving the Punisher. That's pretty awesome too.
Okay.
But okay. I would love that scene. I was really hoping for the Punisher to kind of join in too. I thought he was gonna wake up and just like we're gonna get like a team up, but
yeah,
it was so, dude, just that. How did they film some of that chain stuff? Because it was bananas. I was like, it didn't look like a CG chain. It looked like actual chain going around actual people, and that scene was so good. Yeah. You know what we're talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking
Kelly's
about.
face is just like, it was so good.
I'm just very relaxed with this silver whiskey coursing through my veins.
This is the most relaxed we've been on the show.
We're feeling really nice. We're going to turn it into an NPR show.
Yeah. So it was good. Just stay tuned. There. I don't even want to say what's going on. Just the next scene is That's you. Did you see it? What I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Chris, you have some good stuff happening.
And I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it. So that makes me excited.
Cool. Did you watch Jessica Jones?
No, I haven't seen it
You
yet.
haven't seen it. It's really good. For some reason, I think Jessica Jones, if they would have trimmed a lot, like maybe the middle out of it, it'd been a little more like engrossing to me. But I was like, man,
It was a bit of a smiley face, like it was really cool, and then kind of dips out, but then it finishes strong.
yeah,
I like the it's very minimal, but the crossover into season 2 of Daredevil, like she's mentioned.
yeah. They don't.
Spoiler alert, sorry.
Yeah,
But
they just
it's
they
not
don't
like,
do anything like
she doesn't show up.
Hey, remember that?
Yeah, I feel like they mention Luke Cage early on in the Daredevil one too, right?
Oh yeah.
Just as a little throwaway reference.
Yeah, and at the
that one's coming
at the
out
end
soon.
of Daredevil, they actually show like a little trailer of Luke Cage. It's like nothing. Like it's just him. Like he gets shot up. And he's like, "Damn, I hate buying new clothes." And so Luke Cage. So, that's about it. It's not like
That was a great summation. I don't even want to watch it anymore. I just
dude,
want to hear Justin describe
Mine was
it.
probably way better than what it actually shows. So cool.
Yeah.
All right, any other thoughts on that stuff? Should we move on to bigger stuff while we're all here?
Let's move on to bigger and better things.
Bigger and better things. All right. So
Captain America.
no. All right.
I
So
can sit here in silence again.
we haven't even talked about this really together either. Like
No.
we haven't. So we're gonna talk about a little bit of Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Okay.
And so since Chris is our guest, we want you to kind of start off.
we want to
some
ensure that
thoughts.
Chris has seen it.
How many times? Yeah, you've seen
You
it.
know what?
I figured he would, but
So yesterday I had a session and the chick was like, "Oh, you know what? I actually have a show on Friday, so I'm going to have to cut the session short." So knowing that we were going to talk about Batman versus Superman, I went by myself and saw it a second time just
Nice.
so it would be real fresh.
cool. Wow.
Good job,
All
man.
right.
All right.
I have a lot of thoughts. First of all, I liked it.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of reading a bunch of the reviews shortly before I saw it, and
Yeah.
it lowered my expectations a lot, which I guess is kind of a good thing. But it was so much better than I feel any of the critics rated it.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked a lot of it. Obviously, Zack Snyder sets up his shots amazingly. It's very aesthetically pleasing. I loved the Batman costume. It's definitely my favorite
Oh yeah.
on any kind of film that he's been on.
He doesn't look like a SWAT team
Yeah.
member.
Yeah, I really liked Ben Affleck. Going in, I thought I was gonna like Ben Affleck, and a bunch of my friends were like, "Oh, Ben Affleck! I can't believe they chose him for Batman." And I was like, "You guys wait, he's gonna."
Just you wait, Batfleck.
Yeah.
Affleck was the bomb in Batman.
Yeah. I was never. You know what? When they cast him like 2 years ago, whatever the heck it was, I remember all these people sent me, "They cast Ben Affleck as Batman. What do you think?" And I was like, I don't think he's a bad actor. Like maybe he did like 2 really bad movies, but what actor hasn't done 2 bad movies?
Yeah,
So
and that was a long time ago too.
And this is like post him doing stuff like The Town and Argo, and like he's a good director, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Like
The other thing is, if you watch any interviews with him or ever see him just out as Ben Affleck and not as one of his characters, he's super charming when he's like doing like the late night shows and stuff like that. As soon as I heard he was cast, I was like, oh, he's gonna nail the Bruce Wayne part of it, and he'll probably get all big and beefy and nail the Batman part of it.
Yeah.
So-
I hated him for that though.
What?
Like the workout scene. He's like doing pull-ups with like a 45 strapped around his waist with a chain.
The
I'm like,
CrossFit ad.
it was a little ridiculous. Like none of that is going to help you fight Superman.
It was totally like not relevant, but
But
I
it was
just
cool.
Like, dang,
it was just like
I need to go to the gym.
it was really cool though, just to see him like but that's probably, if I had to like, because a lot of people break down these movies and it's like you can break it down. Batman versus Superman wasn't going to be like this very like, it's not an art film. It's you go to watch Batman and fight Superman. You know?
Right.
So I think when you break it down, that's what critics do, and I don't think that it's not made for critics to like you know say you got to see this movie because it's going to change your life because of this. It's there.
Yeah.
You're there to watch Batman, Superman punch, and then
I
some
like
other
the,
cool
the
stuff.
setup too for Justice League and all that stuff. Like,
See, okay, some people
all
didn't
the
like that. That's the critics' biggest issues. Was like, what the hell's going on?
Oh, they did have to shoehorn like a lot into, what was it, 2.5 hours? You
Yeah.
know, because they basically were setting up the Justice League movies and all of the individual ones to come. You
Yeah.
know, so they did probably have a little bit of like a convoluted mess when it came to plot because they had to fit in all these things that they normally wouldn't have if it was just like a standalone.
Yeah. There was a little bit of weirdness, but it was nothing I would have said like. I was confused. Like you pointed out that was like the Flash talking to him in the vision or whatever he was having.
Like,
and I was like, I was a little confused.
I would say the first half of the movie is really strong, and then once you get into like the second half before he goes after Superman, then all the plots start getting like really like you have to really pay attention to like, wait, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
But I like the Vision.
Yeah.
The one Vision I didn't like he saw the bat in the tomb. Like that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I was like, and there was like the blood. I was like, I just thought that one was a little unnecessary. But dude, I like Desert Batman freaking out and going bananas. And a lot of people are like, "Ooh, Batman shot all these people." I'm like, it was a dream. It was a vision, and it was kind of post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
And there was stuff like, if you don't know comics, which is people like, why is there an Omega symbol? I'm like, dude, that's Darkseid. He's coming. Those are like parademons. So I was excited as like the comic book nerd in me was like, oh, dude, parademons, freaking cool. But like, I can understand critics not liking that, but at the same time, I'm like, who cares?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I feel this was definitely more for the fans than the critics, which is what everyone is kind of saying. I feel even like some of the critics are admitting that themselves.
Yeah.
The second time that I saw it, I picked up so many more things that I didn't notice the first time. Because, when you see a movie for the second time, you pick up a lot of details that you miss when you're just like wrapped up in the overall story and everything that's happening. And the second time you focus on certain things, like the second time in the Flash scene, they make it, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, it's a dream. And then the second time I watched it, when he wakes up, all the papers are still like fluttering in the air behind him, and it's like, oh, that wasn't a dream. That's actually happened. Like
it was like
in
he broke
Flashpoint or whatever.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. It was like it. The only thing I didn't like about it is like he had a dream, and then all of a sudden like he wakes up from the dream, and then the Flash is there, and it was like, how were those tied in? What did because it was like a vision of a dream, and so like. The Flash also said, I'm too early. Like he ran back in time because he has like a little time travel-y like robot suit on or something. And it's hard for me to understand what he said. I know he said, I'm too early.
I'm too soon.
I'm too soon. Yeah, I'm too soon. And then like.
The key is Wonder Woman. And then he says,
I thought he said Lois is the key.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Lois is the key. And then about Superman, he says, you were right about him all along.
But what does that mean?
I don't know. I think since it just transitioned from that little scene where Bruce was dreaming and Superman goes all aggro and like rips off his mask and is like, you took her from me. She was my whole world.
Oh, okay.
I think that it's like what could happen in the future where
if Lois
Batman
dies.
messes up somehow and like causes Lois Lane's death, and then Superman loses his stuff like in the Injustice video game kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was thinking there was like, is there a parallel to that? So the only thing about that, to like maybe extrapolate on that a little bit, like it would have been so much stronger than if Batman saves Lois at the end, because if that would have actually made that kind of like cameo make more sense then. Like if Lois is the key, he could even like it could even flash back to him like saying Lois is the key, and Batman's like, let me go say, and then he could have grabbed that spear and. But
yeah, I think the whole Flash scene is honestly setting some stuff up kind of like Breaking Bad style, where the next movie they'll be like, oh, that's what that scene's about. That's actually clever now that we know what it really means.
That's what they said. That, like I read an interview with Zack Snyder and he's all, there might be a payoff of that scene in Justice League. So you're like, okay, cool. So, okay. So what did you think about Superman? Because I thought, I think Henry Cavill's good as Superman, and I like Man of Steel. Some people didn't like Man of Steel. I'm like, I love Man of Steel. I thought it was good.
I like Man of Steel. I think he looks the part. He's super hunk, that body, right, guys? But I thought he was good. I mean, I thought he was a little bit mopey, but at the same time, if you're in his position just trying to do the right thing all the time and everyone's just kind of like talking trash on you in the media and some people love you and some people hate you and you're really just like out there trying to save lives, I could see how that would affect you that in a realistic sense, Yeah.
Okay, so you're tracking with my thought, and I do want to see Superman be a little more happy, like, hey, help people, and which he did in the movie. I think they did a good job at like showing him help people, but like he is kind of wrestling with that, like, people freaking hate me right now. I don't know what to do. It's kind of like if you were like, I don't know, like a policeman, everyone's like pissed off at you, but like, dude, I'm just trying to help you out. But if you guys want to be jerks, whatever. And I almost felt bad for him. Like he was in the courtroom, everything blew up, and you're just like, dang, dude, he's there to try to explain himself.
Yeah.
And he just can't win.
And you see that look on his face right when it goes off where he's just like so broken up about it.
Yeah.
I think that the end, and I'm not going to go into exactly what happened.
Yeah, we'll save you from that.
Spoiler
That's
alert.
the one thing the trailers did not reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel how it ended will probably fix that for the next movie, in that a lot more people in fake DC universe world will appreciate what he does and what he gives, to help save people.
Yeah. So
I feel like the DC universe media and people will be a lot less divided after how this movie ends.
Yeah. I want Superman to smile. I want him to be a little happier. I'm like, come on, man, be happy. But and even in the fight, you were just like, man, if he could have just said, "Hey, Batman, stop being a beau." But the whole point.
Well, he kind of did. He said, "If I wanted you dead, you would be dead already."
No, you're right. And Batman was just like going to unload on him regardless of like. I think he just realized, dude, I'm just going to have to fight this guy, and then finally. But I don't think Superman goes into it thinking like, I'm just going to stop this fool. Didn't know he was going to have kryptonite on him and all this other stuff. So then
at that point, he didn't even know kryptonite existed. I don't think, right?
Yeah, he was probably like, what the heck? Like,
what is all this green stuff I'm breathing that's like choking me to death?
Yeah.
So that was cool. That scene, that whole fight was so cool, man. Like, I wasn't disappointed about the fight. I think the resolution of the fight, I thought was when I watched it affected me more, because I was even thinking like, oh yeah, they made it really heavy handed. Like, oh, Bruce's mom's name is Martha. Like in the beginning,
right.
He's like, Martha, his dad dying, and then like he keeps looking at the gravestone. And then I was like, oh yeah, their parents both have the same name. And then when they did that, I was like, man, that shook Bruce for a loop really quick. But I buy it, but part of me was like, man, that was it. That's how the fight ends.
I think a lot of people are like kind of dogging it in that like he stopped because their moms had the same name, but I really feel Lois had a lot to do with it, because she threw herself in between the two of them and was like, that's his mom's name. And like, I feel like that probably kind of humanized him a little bit too. Not only the mother thing, but the fact that like Lois was there kind of like really trying to save him from getting stabbed with the kryptonite spear.
Yeah.
And I feel it was probably like the combination of the two, Bruce saw that like he had a mom. He was reminded, of what it feels like to like lose a parent. And, he sees that there's this human girl that's like in love with him, trying to save him. I feel like it probably did a lot to kind of help him realize that maybe he wasn't this like all powerful being that could destroy the world at a moment's notice, that there was more to it than that,
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that people are like kind of up in arms about is like Batman wanting to kill Superman, because Batman has this code, right? And so my kind of thoughts on that was Batman doesn't see Superman as a human. He sees him as a threat. And so I think also this Batman isn't like at the peak of his game Batman. He's kind of wore out. He's a little reckless Batman. And I think his code might be a little less like strict right now. Like
he kills people through that whole movie.
Well, okay, but my thought on it is he's not, I don't think it's, and I said this on another thing. I said he's recklessly like gracious, because I don't think he's trying to kill fools, because at the end, remember when there's that Russian guy that had Martha?
Yeah.
Like in the Dark Knight Returns, there's that similar scene, and he shoots the dude. In this, he shot the canister. Did he blow up and die? I'd like to think maybe he just got some really severe burns, right?
Well, I feel like that's just because they're setting a KG Beast for a future in the universe. But when I watched it the second time, there are plenty of fools when he's like flying through in his like Batwing, or more importantly in the Batmobile when he's like trying to steal the kryptonite for the first time.
Yeah.
And he's just mowing dudes down with his gun. Like there's no way. Like there's one guy that's in this turret and you see him like get shot and just like he just like blows up and the whole car gets like shot.
He could have survived, man.
He did not survive.
No, and here's the thing. I know that, but there's a little bit of like, did he? To me, I'm looking at Batman, again, end of his ropes. He's kind of like, dude, I think he wants to die.
Well, okay. In this one, they set up a bunch of stuff for him being basically Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns Batman. You know? He's jaded. He's had like so much bad stuff happen to him. I mean, like it's implied that one of the Robins has died.
Yeah.
His Wayne Manor's just burnt down.
Yeah.
You know, there's no Commissioner Gordon. That whole speech about like how many good guys are there? How many of them stayed that
but
way?
Commissioner Gordon's around because they cast him.
I know, but in this one, like you don't really
you don't hear
know.
about him.
He has dealt with some stuff, you know.
Yeah.
He is not like young idealistic Batman anymore. I don't think he cares. I think for him he's just brutal and like ends justify the means type of Batman. He kills people in this movie for sure.
But okay, and I agree with you. I just feel like once he goes after Martha, I think Superman already in that moment has changed him. Like, I'll save your mother. I'll get whatever he said. Like, I'll guarantee I'll take care of her.
Yeah.
And in that fight, though, I think he killed one person. I would say there was like a grenade that blew up. Like he did this weird bat rope thing, and he threw this guy. Maybe they lost some limbs. I'm trying to hope for the best. Batman's pretty tactical, and he's like, if I just throw him this way, he won't die. But
he also smashes fools' faces into the ground.
Batman's always been like brutal.
Yeah,
like,
no, I know. I just maybe you're right. Like, because I feel like a lot of the movie was setting him up to be like this crazy, vindictive, just brutal, like thug, more or less. You know, who's like he's saving people and he's stopping criminals, but you know, he has his whole thing where he's like, we are criminals, Alfred. You know, like he knows what he's doing. I feel like he's just so over it that he doesn't have a problem with killing some of these people. You know, I mean, they make a whole big thing about him branding some of these guys, and that basically means that they're going to get killed in jail. But I think you might be right that like maybe Superman and like Superman's mom and that whole scene brings him back to like a more like grounded, like what he used to be when he was younger.
Yeah, and that's what I hope, because even at the end of the movie, he's talking to Wonder Woman and talking about like, you know, I don't want to get too much into it, but like he seems inspired by Superman now, and so I think that's good. But but my point, going back to my original point, was like he was going after Superman not as a man, but as he saw him as something that was a threat to humankind. And I think Batman was like, I'm gonna go after him, I'm probably gonna die. Alfred's like, it's suicide, and like I think he just knew like I've got to do something to I think he felt he needed to redeem himself, and this is the last thing that he can do. Kelly, you're so quiet.
You know what, like you guys are total like,
what were your thoughts?
I liked it. It was overall, I'm like, generally I liked it. No, my if I had to critique it, like, but I understand where it came in. The intro scene, just the whole Batman backstory again. It's like, okay, everybody knows that, but I understand for the purpose of setting it up in a whole different light.
I think they needed to, and I felt the same way. I was like, dude, again, like but I think they needed to set up the whole Martha thing.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, yeah. I mean, it had to pay off at the end, but Doomsday,
I just thought it was so well done, though. They actually had like the Zorro like movie. That, I mean, Batman fans like know, like it's always been like the Mark of Zorro is like the movie that they leave.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And
the pearls. There was a shot that they did that was very similar to one of the frames actually in Dark Knight Returns. And this one was way more brutal than any of the others. Like he puts the gun like right to her face. You know, that's a little bit more hardcore than any of the.
Yeah. The Nolan one was like really quick, which that affected me in a different way. I was like, dang, dude, it was like bam, bam. Where this one was, and this was way more like kind of artfully done too. It was super violent, but it was like, I liked how it was done.
They had the sad opera music.
Then it had the weird, like the bats making him float in the air. Like, my wife leans over. She's all, "Is that how he got his powers?"
Yeah, I wasn't really into that part. I was like, "Come on, really?"
But I know I was hoping, please be a voiceover to say like, and then I had a dream, and then he did. I was like, because I was like, that's gonna confuse people if he doesn't like give a little bit of insight on what was going on. But I liked the movie overall, and I think I liked the Doomsday part. Like Doomsday was cool. Like it was the CGI on Doomsday was really cool. Okay. Like so, the like explosions and all that. I don't know. It's bonkers what they can do with CGI these days. That's funny. Okay, I'm glad you said it because I didn't really like Doomsday as much.
Really?
I mean, I think that, oh man, I don't want to like debate like the movie and break it down like
Yeah,
it
for
should
sure,
have been
for
this,
sure.
but like the movie is the movie, and so for the movie, I liked what it meant in the movie, but I would have liked to have seen Doomsday be its own separate thing, because I think Doomsday could be like its own movie, and I think they
with
could
like the return also. Like
they could have done
whole arc.
something like a whole different thing, and I think they could have done something. Like they could have done Metallo. Metallo's another character. If they wanted to hurt Superman, they could have used him, and it would have worked with the Kryptonite really well. And the only thing I think they used Doomsday for was like, okay, who would we need Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman to try to take down? So I can get get over it, but it just means later on down the road we can never do Doomsday again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was a factor of it that I really liked, the fact that it wasn't just one of them. You know, it's like usually it's like comes down to a one-on-one battle.
Yeah.
Like it was all three of them. Like, so this is like to me, it was like a tougher villain to defeat, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like I like that. It's not so easy. It's not like, oh, it's me and you and okay, I beat you up and you're done.
Okay. So one of the things people talked about that I've read is like, how does Doomsday, what even happened with Doomsday? And I was like, I feel like I paid attention in the movie, and I'm like, well, Lex Luthor he like faked being Zod with the fingernails and all that type of stuff, right? And then he turned on this like Kryptonian matrix device that it was even saying, this is forbidden what you're doing. Like, so it was like some type of Kryptonian genetic experiment that was going on. Like,
Right.
so I feel it kind of explained it. I wish maybe it needed to paint it more obviously, but I got that like his blood and
Made a mutant. Mutant Kryptonian.
Something that I heard the second time and that I didn't pick up the first time was when he does that, and then like the little robot or ship or whatever it is talking to him, they make reference to a time that had happened before on Krypton. So before he does that, he's kind of like, tell me, because it's like, oh, you're subject to like 100,000 planets worth of information here. And he's like, tell me about that. And then at that point, after that, he kind of combines it, and they're like, oh, you can't do this because of the Council of Krypton.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, where are they? And so they do it anyway, but it kind of sets it up, if you like really pay attention, that there was something like that had happened before that caused like a whole ordeal on Krypton at some point.
Read between the lines, fools.
Interesting.
So that being said, you know what? Like they say that when this movie comes out on video, it was supposed to be like a longer movie, and a lot of that probably affects the flow. Because one of my complaints would be like, man, it got really choppy at the end. And so I bet you once you watch it in its original form, because Warner Brothers isn't going to put out a 3.5 hour movie if it's like a movie like this. They want it to be like, as short as possible and still make sense, so more people can watch it, in a day. But if it was an indie film, fine, be 4 hours. But so okay, we don't have to keep breaking it down so much. But what are your thoughts on Wonder Woman?
I liked her. I thought Gal Gadot did a great job. I mean, she's obviously a babe, but I feel she kind of got the essence of the character.
Yeah.
And she, for me, was when I watched it both times, she was like the one moment where everyone like applauded when she first made her entrance. I feel like everyone, be it like critics or fans, like everyone responded positively towards her, myself included.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought she played it really well. She was like mysterious but powerful. I liked that she had her whole little like sneer when she was like fighting Doomsday.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, I love that.
Okay, cool. This is like might be a little bit of a challenge, but also like this is gonna be a little fun. Like she's just kind of a badass. I liked it.
Yeah, I like when she made that comment to Superman. She's like, I fought, monsters from other worlds before, and I was like, oh crap. I just imagined her flying around in an invisible jet going on adventures, just handling bad guys. So yeah, I really liked her, man.
Yeah.
So what about you, Kelly? What do you think about Wonder Woman?
Yes.
So okay, there was a scene where she's like, she gets the email from Bruce Wayne, and it's like, who are you? This is you, and he has that photo, which I thought was cool. It had like the dude, what's the Star Trek guy's name?
Chris Pine.
Like, so I was wondering like how soon was that photo added, because they announced he was cast in the Wonder Woman movie like maybe a couple of months back. So I mean, it's not hard to throw it in there, but I don't know how long. I
actually read something that they reshot that like way later when it was when it was in like the editing process.
Okay, so they had to do that.
So they had another picture that they'd used, and then like on set or like at one of the costumings for Wonder Woman, they just put all of them together and shot a photo and then put it into the movie later.
I love that part. I thought that was kind of cool, and I like when she was looking at that sword. She's like, "Oh, I'm looking at this sword," and Bruce Wayne's just like, Yeah, it's fake. Like he was like so cool. He was like, you saw his detective part in there, even though he's really just trying to hit on her. He was just like, "Yay, what's up, girl?"
Yeah, it's fake.
So, I did like he had those files, and it was like those files he stole from Lex Luthor, and it was like Lex Luthor made logos. Like he was in Photoshop. He was like, "This guy's fast." Lightning bolt.
Let's make him a lightning bolt.
Yeah. This is kind of funny. So, all right. So overall,
Lex Luthor's all about that branding. All about that
is,
marketing.
dude. LexCorp, bam, bam, bam.
LexCorp.
So, Lex Luthor. I didn't hate him, but I was hoping for him to be a little more like comic book Lex Luthor, but I don't know. I'm waiting for the next like movie with him to see like maybe they'll get more to it.
He was definitely my least favorite character out of everyone. There were some times where I was like, "Oh, this is great. He's playing this like right on," and then there were some times where he just like, in my opinion, took it a little bit too far and was like, yeah, I know they want him to seem kind of like unhinged and stuff, but there was moments where it's just like, okay, like no one would really be like this, you know?
Like when he's talking to himself, like talking at the party, and then he's like launched into this whole like talking to himself. He's like, no,
well,
make any sense.
I kind of like that nervous, like, I feel like that's his public act, but then behind the scenes, he's really sinister. The part at the end where he was just like ding ding ding, ding I was like,
that was
like,
lame.
Yeah, and part of me is like, I'm hoping that he's possessed by like something else at this point to kind of like make up for that. Because I was like, that just seemed like Batman Forever Riddler, you know?
It was cheesy.
Yeah, it was super cheesy, but I don't know. It just seemed like, what's that about? But all right, so to wrap this up, what were your thoughts, Kelly?
I'm just gonna say solid. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah,
it
was good.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a gotta go, because I think you need to think about it for yourself. Like critics, I mean, it's like a 30 on Rotten Tomatoes, which I'm like, are you kidding me? People have compared it to like Batman and Robin as being one of the worst. I'm like, are you kidding me? I think.
But it's also like a 89 or 90% on IMDb.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's what I would say is like fans really like this movie. Critics don't understand it. And you shouldn't watch stuff because of what other people think anyways.
Of course.
And so I say, go watch it and make up your own mind. But it's really, the only thing I would say, my only negative is I can't take my kid to see this because I think it would just mess him up. Yeah. Like, you know, and that's all he wants to watch. He's like, Dad, let's go watch Batman vs. Superman. I'm like, when it comes out, I'm gonna have to do like a special editing job on it or something like that, because you know he still thinks Batman's just Batman. He doesn't know his parents were murdered when he was like 9. So
oh wow,
yeah, he has no idea.
Doesn't know the backstory.
Yeah, sorry. That's why he's all, I want to be Batman when I grow up. Well, that sucks for me then. That's not good. Suck. I got 3 years.
Well, son,
when you hit 9, I better not take you to the movies. So
don't take him to the theater.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to give it a let's go also. Mm-hmm. I feel, regardless of if you're a Batman fan or even a comic book fan at any point, it's a big enough movie and it's like part of pop culture now. So you should probably just go see it anyway to know what everyone's talking about. It's kind of like Star Wars, you know, even if you didn't like the original Star Wars or you're not like super into it, you should probably go see it anyway just because everyone else on the planet did. So
yeah, like dude, it made like $500 million like last week, like worldwide. That's crazy. So I mean, it doesn't really have any competition coming up until like Civil War, I think, but which that's rad. But
is X-Men before that?
No, X-Men's like after that.
Oh, it's like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
after,
X-Men's like in end of May. So
Civil War's like right at the beginning, huh? So we got like less than a month. Almost.
Yeah, you got about 4 more weeks. Kelly. Yes.
Are you more excited about Civil War than you were for Batman versus Superman?
Probably because I just don't have my feet that far into the DC pool yet.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas like Marvel's been like working at it for a good long while, and they put out a good chunk of movies. Luckily I don't think I watched whatever Superman. I didn't watch whatever Superman movies came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, those
they don't matter.
None of that connects.
And they were terrible. I just saw, I've just seen Man of Steel basically, and
that's all you
obviously
needed.
Batman.
There's still people that think like this is connected to the Dark Knight, like it's just another guy playing. No, it's like no, it's not. So
yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited for both.
Cool.
Now that this movie, now that Batman v Superman's over, I'm excited for Justice League and where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And I did like Man of Steel. I like that. Was there one before Man of Steel?
No, that was it. So Man of Steel kind of kicked off this new world.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
it just made me more stoked for Suicide Squad that's coming out. I'm like, because Batman's going to be in that too. So that's cool.
Batfleck?
Batfleck.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Batfleck. Yeah, he's in that. Like, I don't know how big of a role, but I know he was in that trailer, like on top of a car. So
That'll be good.
So
I have to say the one thing that this got me excited for more than Justice League, more than any of that, was hopefully a solo Batman movie.
Oh yeah,
with Ben Affleck. I would love for them to like maybe go back and get into why like the manor got burned down and Robin's dead and like parts of the city like that. The fight where he put the spear is like in an old police station that's abandoned now. Like
they were very good at going, this part of the city's empty. Like it was like last movie, it was like everybody die, but this like it's an empty part of the city. That's why we're fighting here. Like, oh, okay, thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that they could do with a Batman movie in the future.
Yeah.
Or in the past, like explaining like why some of this stuff was the way it was, what happened to Robin, a Joker story.
Yeah.
Killing Joke, maybe Death in the Family. One of those could be super cool. They're obviously really smart about the source material they take from.
Yeah.
And have been pulling pretty big fan favorites out. So I would love to see one that was maybe Death in the Family or Killing Joke.
Yesterday, they actually said that it's been confirmed that Affleck's already written a Batman movie. I think it's just like, where does it fit in the slate and with some of the projects? So Warner Brothers loves Affleck, so it's like, let him do what he wants type of thing. So he's like, he gets to do whatever he wants. And like, I'm not going to hate on an Affleck written Batman movie. It's probably going to be really good.
Right.
So what I hope that they do, like what you said, is do a little bit of flashback, but like flash forward too. Like maybe there's like I would love to see like Nightwing, but then
me too.
But then like also like dealing with the stuff of like him being Robin and leaving and maybe Jason Todd, like that type of stuff. That would be freaking rad, man. And you're like, Kelly's looking like, I don't know what that means. So, but
it's okay.
That would be cool.
Yeah, no, I've always been waiting for like a legit Nightwing cinematic appearance.
Yeah. I hope it's not, I hope Dick Grayson's not the dead Robin.
I don't think he would.
That would be a mistake, I think. But
I don't think they'd do that.
Yeah. Okay. Nerd. Nerd talk over. All right. So we've kind of talked about some of this movie stuff, and we really would like to talk to Chris about some stuff that he's been. Chris is here because he's a guest, and we like that he's here, and we love him. But Chris is also a rad friend. So tell us some rad stuff that you've been doing, Chris.
Rad.
This is the time to talk about what you do.
Okay. I jump over cars on my skateboard. I'm super rad in that sense. No.
You recently did a movie released under YouTube, like YouTube did the whole.
Yeah. Okay. So little bit about me. I grew up playing in bands. I was in a band with Kelly here.
Yep.
And after all of that, I kind of, because I always loved songwriting and production and that type of stuff. So I, over the last couple of years, have transitioned into writing songs and doing production for a bunch of other artists and for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. As Kelly mentioned, recently, my writing partner and I, Eric Straube, did all of the music for a movie called Dance Camp that came out. It was YouTube's first full-length feature, and they teamed up with this production company called Awesomeness TV that's super popular and very social media savvy and like really understands like marketing for the new generation of kids and stuff. The movie itself is similar to like a step it up, set it off.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
Dancing,
there's
singing.
dancers, there's dance troops. They have a little bit of conflict that they have to overcome.
They got a beef.
Yeah. But it was fun for us, one, because I had done songs for movies before, but this was the first time that we pretty much got to do all of the music for a motion picture.
Right.
And it was very interesting for me. because it provided more of a challenge. We would have a song that we would write and they'd be like, okay, this is perfect. We like it. And then the choreographer would come back to us with like notes like, okay, we need like a half a bar pause right here at 17 seconds. And then we need some accents right here at the end of the second verse. And she would send us like videos of the choreography that she would set up. So then we would have to like sync this to all like the weird like pop and locks that the dancers were doing. And it was fun to do because
almost like working in reverse, right?
Yeah. There was numerous times where we would get clips of the film and I'd have to bring those into Pro Tools and like sync everything up precisely, because the tighter our music was with like the movements that the dancers were doing, the better it was going to look overall on screen. So that was new and kind of fun, and it kind of felt like, I mean, I've edited some music videos before in the past, and it wasn't, luckily I had that kind of a reference, you know, that kind of experience before where I could set it up really nice and knew how to do that with the visuals, you know, because most engineers and producers, it's strictly audio stuff, but I'd had a little bit of experience that helped out. It came out really good. I'm happy with how the movie came out. It just dropped on iTunes earlier this week on the 25th.
Cool.
Oh, cool. So it's not just exclusive to YouTube?
It was exclusive to YouTube for about a month.
Okay.
And now it's on iTunes and some other like digital download shops and platforms. Sometime kind of soon it's coming to Netflix and some of the streaming services, which is when I imagine a lot more people will see it.
Right.
The Awesomeness TV and YouTube, they had a really smart marketing plan for it, which was, instead of just like having all this music in it, they would pair us up with some of these really big YouTube singers and YouTube stars to do certain songs for certain scenes. So one of my favorites, and it's the one that they ended up using in the trailer and all of that stuff, is a song called Beat of My Drum, where they paired us up with this amazing singer named Sam Swee, who, if you look him up on YouTube, has like millions of plays on all of his videos, and is just like the coolest, most down-to-earth kid with just this heavenly voice, you know, just such a great singer. I actually brought a little clip of that song. I know sometimes you guys throw
let's play it.
Let's clip it up.
So you can check that out. It's on the trailer and in a very pivotal scene in Dance Camp, the movie. So I guess we can pause here and play
pause
that.
and clip.
Cool. So we're back.
That?
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Let's Go podcast featuring Justin and Kelly.
With our special guest, Chris Qualls. What's coming up next after this?
So the really unfortunate thing is most upcoming stuff these days I can't talk about because
we got you on NDAs, man.
Yeah, I honestly did just have to sign a non-disclosure agreement for another movie that we're involved with in the future.
Was it the one that you talked to me about previously?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so
that's exciting for me. I mean, you guys should be excited.
We'll see. I mean, you know how the music industry is. Like, once it's out and you have your check, then it's official. Because you can sign a million things and like stuff can fall through last minute all the time.
Yeah, of course.
So that's kind of the bad thing about what I'm doing now, is like we're getting to work with some awesome people and on some awesome projects, and I can't really tell anyone about it until like 9 months later when it's released. But the cool thing is we have a publishing deal, which for those of you that don't know, it's essentially like a recording contract for songwriters, where a big company they're invested in you. They get a percentage of any of the money off of songwriting that you make, but because they're invested in you, they will provide opportunities for you that you couldn't provide for yourself.
Yeah.
So every week we're doing 2 or 3 sessions with other co-writers or artists or trying to write songs for movies or TV shows or jingles or whatever it is. So they keep us busy, and I love it because for me, the one bad thing about being in a band was a band has a sound, and you're kind of like trapped in a little bit of a box with what you can do artistically when you're in a band. Whereas, you know, on Monday we're working with an R&B artist, and then on Wednesday we're working with like a super hip, like indie acoustic total Silver Lake type of duo.
Yeah, different ends of the spectrum. You
Yeah.
basically kind of get a new flavor every day.
Yeah, and I love that because that keeps it interesting for me, and I feel that like I'm good at that kind of stuff, writing in different genres, and can write very diverse material. So I love it personally, and it's really fun because we're meeting a lot of new talented people, because the publishing company isn't gonna like hook us up with like, oh, you know, here's some dude that like I'm cousins with who like just started playing guitar like 3 months ago. You know, like last week we finished up a song for Alex and Sierra, who were the winners of X Factor last year.
Oh, okay,
cool.
And then before that, we were working with this other songwriter who's in a really cool band called Dark Waves, writing a song for this chick Michaela, who's like 17 and has like a voice that is just like, you hear it and there's no doubt that like, oh, this chick's gonna be a major star. So it's really good. It's introducing us to a lot of people, and you guys know the music industry is all about networking.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they're talented and they know people, and if you're cool and you're nice to these people that you're working with, they're going to want to work with you again, or they're going to recommend you to one of their friends. And we've had so many good opportunities come our way because one of the artists that we work with liked it, liked the results, liked working with us as people, and recommended us like to their manager, and then their manager brought us like 4 other artists that they represent. So it's, you know, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I feel it's a big step away from what I was doing, playing in bands and touring all the time, and I do miss that.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like at a certain point, you know, unless you're like the Rolling Stones, no one wants to see an old ass dude on stage. So at a certain point, you have to transition in your career and really like focus on what you do well, which for me, I feel is songwriting and production. And I'm having a good time doing it now in LA.
Right on. That's definitely
awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything like from the past that you're like, oh yeah, you know, I was a part of this, or are you just more about looking forward? Like, is there anything that somebody may have heard like, oh, okay, I was a part of this, or I did a song for this show, or a little bit of a resume?
There's a lot of things like that. I mean, there's some things that are really funny. Like a while back, we did a song that ended up being the theme song for the World Dog Awards.
Nice.
And it was really funny because they wanted it to be like a rap song about dogs. And they actually sent us the lyrics, and one of the lyrics, I kid you not, was sniffing butts because we straight up mutts, right? And so me and the dudes I was working with were just like, this is amazing / like the worst, but so bad that it like totally flipped around and was like cool again, you know?
Exquisite.
Who did the rap? Who rapped that? Who actually like?
My friend Petey.
Oh,
Yeah, because he has a rock band, but he grew up as a rapper, and he's very good at doing different voices, and they kind of wanted this to be like a rap crew.
Yeah.
So we made a fun night of it where there were 3 different verses, and we gave all of the different verses their own like character, not only in like his voice, but we gave him like backstories. Like the low guy that was rapping, he was the guy in the crew named Big Lurch. And then so we gotta have fun. Yeah. So we developed backstories and like made this whole imaginary crew that did this rap track for all the different characters and all the different verses. It was pretty
Sounds
fun.
like fun.
And then, I mean, we've done a bunch of, Eric and I work together like 90% of the time, but we also do our own things individually. There was a little bit there when I was working for John Feldman, who used to sing in Goldfinger, but now is like a huge producer in the pop rock world. And that was really fun for me because I got to work on a lot of big name projects, and more than that, I got to kind of see his flow, how efficient he was, because he had a whole crew where like, so okay, we were working on the 5 Seconds of Summer album, right? And I would go in and I would like set up all the drums. I was an assistant engineer on that. So I'd go in and set up all the drum mics, get them sounding good, tune the drums. He would be working with like the guitar player, working on like a riff for the song that they had worked on the day before. And then he'd have another guy that was in there tracking bass. And then when I was done with my part, he'd be like, okay, here are the drums from yesterday. I need you to time edit these. And then when that was done, he'd be like, okay, we're working on this tomorrow. I need you to kind of set up like a basic session for it and then do some like general programming because the root notes are in there and we want some extra production on this. So it was really kind of inspiring to see how he not only was a great songwriter, but he led a team to just be like so efficient that they were like turning out multiple songs a day. It was just kind of crazy. And it made me realize like, hey, one person can do a good amount, but if you have a whole 3 or 4 people working in unison together, then you can get a whole lot done, more than any of those people could individually.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So it kind of refocused my whole take on how we run things for like our songwriting, where now, since then, that was about a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago, we've started building up like a stable of different singers and writers. So we know like, oh, hey, we're going to write an R&B song today. Let's bring one of our good R&B melody guys in, and then let's like do this exact process for vocals and use these samples for drums. And it kind of just gets you like, working for him made me a little bit more prepared as far as like leading a team to get stuff done at a quicker rate.
Yeah, efficiency.
Yeah.
Hey. We probably don't have time for the other stuff, but it reminded me, I wanted to ask you something because we were going to like talk about a record, and on this record, this guy covers a lot of songs, and he does Dustin Kensrue's record. He covers Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus, right? And we actually saw him play that song. We was like, oh, he did such a good song because the song is a rad song.
Yeah.
I think people are like, oh, it's Miley Cyrus, whether you like her or you don't like her. I think that might influence your opinion and stuff. But what I wanted to ask you questions just about what it's like to create something, like create a piece of art for somebody, and then you kind of have to give it away, and then have you been in a situation where you felt like, oh man, that's the song I wrote, but dude, that person sucks? Or does it like is it kind of create for like work and then you release it and you have to be okay with it? Or like, how do you feel about stuff like that?
You know, it's tough. You, as a professional songwriter, you know going in that that's what's going to happen. Like someone else is going to interpret your work how they see it.
Right.
Oftentimes it'll be great because if it's a major label, it's gonna be a good singer, you know? And like the production might not be exactly what you wanted, but usually it's not bad, you know? Oftentimes it's really good, and there's been some where I was a little hesitant of it because there are certain songs that I like am especially attached to. Yeah. And those are a little bit harder to get rid of. Ones that I've written that it wasn't like, hey, Chris Brown is looking for a song. Let's write a song for Chris Brown. It was just like a song that I wrote because I was feeling whatever emotion it was at the time. And so those for me are a little bit harder to get rid of because those were like they weren't created with the intention of giving them away. They were created because I had something in me that needed to get out. Yeah. And so those I'm a little bit like, I'll hold on to them a little bit more, and I won't want to give them away to someone that I don't feel like will understand it or do a good job performing the song. But I would say like 80 to 90% of the songs we do, we know who they're going to ahead of time. We know what it's for, and we don't write like, oh, hey, this is a Chris Qualls song that's exactly how I'm feeling today. It's like, hey, this song is specifically written for this artist, because every month we'll get basically a spreadsheet of all of the different major label artists that are looking for songs and exactly what they're looking for, you know? So you'll kind of get a feel for like genre, tempo, and lyrical subject that they're looking for. And at that point, you're writing it with them in mind, and you kind of like try and put yourself in their shoes and be like, oh, well, Gwen Stefani was just going through a breakup, you know, she has this new dude. Here's probably what she's feeling at the time, you know? And that is a lot different than like what I might be feeling at the time. Right. So there's not that emotional investment that I would have on the majority of the songs that we write. But yes, there are some times where I have been like very nervous. And there's only been one time, honestly, when I heard a song and I was like, oh, this producer just ruined it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into what that was.
Yeah, no, we don't have to do.
But
it's interesting. It's I think, like you said, like being able to work on different genres is really cool, and it's probably like just creatively like kind of exciting. Like, oh man, I get to work on this. Like, you're not just stuck in a rut. Like punk rock's fun.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like our blood. But like sometimes it's like, oh man, I want to listen to something a little different. And
yeah,
so that's really, I thought it was kind of interesting to get a little insight on that.
Yeah, it is definitely, you know what it is going into it. You know, like I feel that's just like, it took me a little while to transition into that kind of mentality where it's like, oh, at a certain point, I just have to give up creative control of this song and let this other producer. So, I mean, a lot of times we do produce our own stuff, but like a lot of these like major label artists, it's like you give them the song and then they're like, okay, the label wants like, you know, like a big established producer to do the record because it's less of a gamble for them, and because the music industry is in such a weird let's say weird state right now. None of these record labels want to take a gamble if they don't have to, you know. Everyone's about playing it safe because there's so little money coming in, and all of these companies are just trying so hard to like turn a profit that if one of these A&R guys takes a chance and it doesn't pay off for him, then he's gone. A&R guys will get dropped super quick for like, they could facilitate 10 albums happening that are all successful, and then one bomb and they could be gone, you know? So when it comes to us, when a record label is not going to want us to produce a song when they could get Dr. Luke to produce a song because of his track record, you know? So a lot of times you know you're going to give up creative control going into the situation, and you won't have the final say over the final product, you know? It's like, okay, it's our song that they're doing, but who knows like what chances they're going to take with the production, who knows like what kind of drum samples they're going to use, what instruments. So a lot of times you just like, you know, going in that that's what's up, and you just have to kind of deal with it and hope that whoever did finish the product is as good as the record label hopes.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up really quick though for our show.
I think we could do a couple quick record reviews.
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna like kind of. I was gonna say, what's your off the like speed round style top 5 favorite bands
of all time or right now?
Right.
I'm gonna do all time. Let's go all time.
Oh, all time.
Yeah.
Should we do both?
This is for our guests, but okay, let's do
all
both.
Time. Start with all time.
All time.
Okay,
go for it.
All time. Nirvana, Fleetwood Mac, Jimmy Eat World, the Beatles, and probably, I don't know, Blink-182.
So current top 5.
Okay, current top 5, I would put number 1 is this band Dark Waves. It's this dude Nick that I had the pleasure of working with in a session a couple weeks ago, and my girlfriend had heard of him and was already a fan, but I'd never really listened to him. So I started checking out his stuff, and it's really cool. It's similar to your guys' buddy, the New Divisions band.
Okay.
I feel both of you would really like it. It's got it's got a hip current feel, but like a definite like kind of like Depeche Mode-y, like
right.
darker, moody type of influence.
Gotcha.
I really like Borns right now. Also, lately, to be honest, I made a huge Spotify playlist that is basically all old punk rock songs. So I was like doing really well about discovering new bands, and then like just went on this whole kick where like everything from my teenage years I put in one Spotify playlist, and now I just listen to that every time I'm like driving or like riding around.
I've subscribed to.
You what?
I subscribed to it. I was like, this is so fun.
It's pretty cool. Other than that, I don't know. I have to try and listen to a lot of pop stuff to keep up with like what's going on like the Billboard charts.
Yeah.
And I know you guys probably won't super dig this, but I really like the new Bieber record. And we were going to talk about
we can
this,
cut that out right
but
now.
I really do like that last Taylor Swift record. And I know recently you have criticized it on your show about Taylor Swift's pop stuff. But
again, you know, it's more like the persona than the music. Because going back to like the whole Miley Cyrus thing, like song's super catchy and it's a good song. Like if you didn't know anything about who she was and you heard that song, like, oh, it's a well written song, right? I think it's just when you start to know Taylor Swift, like who she is, you're like, you just can't take her serious anymore. Like, oh, you're just gonna like, I don't know. Anyways,
other than that, there's a couple bands that we work with that I've been listening to a lot. Teenage Exorcists are dope. Pete Wild is dope. There's this really cool band that my old publicist started representing that's super cool called Lucky Chops. That's just like, it's all horns and it's super funky and just like some of the most talented horn players ever. I've been really into that lately.
Chris has been really horny lately.
when has
you have so many guitars and instruments in here. Why don't you have any drums to do a little rim shot for that amazing joke?
Coming back there.
Yeah, they're stacked.
What about you guys?
Cool.
Kelly, top five.
Oh,
Of all time.
all time. Jeez, so I had the toughest time doing this with our top 5 or top 10 records because it
Of
was
all
just
time.
like
Yeah. It's hard because it fluctuates.
yeah. Jimmy Eat World, obviously Nirvana. I'm kind of like
Everything Chris
piggybacking on Chris's list, but Jimmy Eat World, Nirvana, Imogen Heap. I don't know.
Okay, what about recently? What have you been listening
Jeez.
to? You still into Frightened Rabbits or whatever they're called?
Yeah, there is a new Frightened Rabbit album next Friday.
I saw that was coming out. I thought of you.
So there's 4 new jams of theirs up. There's pretty good. Forget his last name, but the guitar player from the National, Aaron something or other, he produced the new Frightened Rabbit record, which it's pretty cool. So far I've been into it.
Did you hear the new Thrice song?
I was going to talk. That was actually on the list for
I've
today.
not heard the
but,
new
like,
Thrice song yet.
It's really good.
It's dope. I like it a lot.
It's like, oh, it's not. I didn't like Major Minor very much. I thought it was like a bad Pearl Jam record. It wasn't bad, but it was like, oh man, like I really like this record. I mean, at least this song. Hopefully, the rest of the record.
I for sure have been bumping the new Face to Face. It's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, that was on the list to chat about. Where do you give the Face to Face record?
What do I give it?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not like epic, whatever. I'm gonna say like let's go in a half, like a good 90%.
Really?
It's solid. It's a good solid record. It's definitely a big step up from probably the last 2 or 3 that I've heard out of them.
I felt like Trevor Keith sounded bored singing. Like that first song out the gate, like I feel like, man, he should have had some energy in it, and he's just like, his voice is already like, and so I just didn't feel like there was any energy in that first song, and I was like, man, you should have came out like, this is your first face-to-face record like in years. You should have came out like
Guns blazing.
Yeah, and I feel like it was like a very punk rock like anthemic song, and I just felt like it was flat.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can see where you say that, but it's just, to me, it was a good all-around face-to-face record, and maybe I'm more of a fan of it just because of the production and the
blasting room.
the blasting room sound is just really
so clean
good
for punk rock. Yeah. I like it. I feel it is definitely closer to what they were doing back in their heyday, but I just feel it doesn't have some of the hooks of like, you know, Big Choice or Don't Turn Away or anything.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that.
But at the same time, like, if you're having to write punk rock songs for like what 25 years or whatever it's been, like you're gonna run out of ideas.
It's kind of like a Rancid record. Like it's always gonna be rancid and fun, but it's gonna be like, we're still against stuff. Yeah, you know, like it's not saying anything new. And it's again, I wouldn't say it's about. I think it's like a let's go. It's like, dude, but if you like Face to Face, like you're not going to be disappointed.
I was just excited because it's been so long since I've like listened to a Face to Face record and other than the old classics and been like, yeah, okay. So it got me amped up. I was excited about it.
All right, my top 5.
Top 5, go for it.
Okay, man, of all time, like The Cure, Depeche Mode. I would say AFI, but not any of their current stuff. I'm just not feeling some of it, especially Crash Love. I didn't like. The newer one actually, Burials, I kind of like more.
Are you excited about his weird little project with No Doubt?
I'm more curious about it. I'm like, that's a weird fit, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's like a giant orange painted black. I don't know, dude. It's like I don't know how that's gonna work. That's just weird. And then. Guy of all time, like Bad Religion would be in there just because I just think they write really good songs.
Yeah.
That's 4, and then for my 5th, we'll throw in like Brand New. I just think Brand New's.
I love Brand New so much. Yeah. I actually just bought Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me on vinyl.
Oh really? Oh, I want to get that. Would be one I'd get on vinyl too.
Yeah. I've been looking.
I had to pay
that.
like $32 off of Amazon to get it.
I was gonna say,
no way, dude. I feel like I've seen that at American Outfitters, like Urban Outfitters.
It's 4 records.
Oh really?
Yeah.
They went deep grooves.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's totally set up where like each side is like 2 songs.
Oh, okay. Dang.
It's good. I love it. We do, a bunch of my friends and I do game/record night out in LA all the time where a bunch of people will come over and everyone will pick like the side of a record while we're playing like Sequence or Exploding Kittens or some kind of board game. So I have been upping my record collection lately for that reason specifically. So that was one that I bought, and then I haven't bought. There has been very few new records that I feel are actually worthy of spending, you know, like $25 when I already have the digital version, you know. But that was one of them, and what was the other one? Enema of the State.
So my current, like, it's weird. Like Kelly kind of got me into the White Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I really like. I don't. It was weird because I didn't know who was singing the songs on Sons of Anarchy because I was watching that show. Like, oh, that's kind of a cool cover of that song. And then Kelly's like, oh, you should listen to White Buffalo. And I was like, oh, there's that fool. That's who it is.
Kelly, you know that's all Sessa's doing, right?
What?
Sessa, Steve Sessa, my attorney, our old attorney for the band that we were in, represents White Buffalo and like got him all of that Sons of Anarchy stuff.
Hook it up, Sessa.
I remember so many years ago when Electric Valentine was first starting, I went into his office and he was like, dude, you got to check this guy out, and played me like some early demos of his, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, he would just, every time I would go into his office, he'd be like, dude, White Buffalo, bro. So it's nice to see him doing really well. Sessa told me some weird story where he was like signed to like Johnny Depp's label for a little bit, and like then was in like album limbo. I mean, this was like years and years and years ago. But Sessa has always been pushing that guy, so it's interesting that you're cool. Such a fan of him now.
There you go.
Small world.
Yeah.
You know what? I heard something last night. I sometimes just scan through iTunes, see what came out recently because I have the Apple Music, so I can kind of stream everything and actually give it a more than a 30-second/minute whatever preview. Mm-hmm. And this band Audacity, they have a new album called Hyper Vessels. Mm-hmm. It is super cool. From what I listened to the whole record, and they're like a band from LA, but it's very like garagey punk vibe.
That's what you sent me last night.
I sent it to Justin last night.
I didn't see it till this morning.
And it's so good. Like, it's just so cool to hear that kind of sound in nowadays.
So kind of like a little bit in like the Fiddler vein or something.
I'm gonna play a quick tidbit.
Yeah, dude, that's actually really
That's
good.
really good.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of one band that I'm just now realizing I forgot to throw on my list of current top 5, which is another LA garage punk type of band called Fiddler. And so my old band, Levice, our first US show was playing in a shitty garage with this band that I'd started to hear a little bit about. And when I watched them, they had the whole garage packed full of people just like moshing and having a good time. And I was like, oh, this is great. Cause I grew up listening to punk rock and it reminded me of the stuff that we used to do, you know, punk rock shows in someone's house in a garage and just having a good time.
Yeah.
So I had followed them over the years, but they came out with an album recently that's just so good. It's actually another one of the few albums that I have purchased on vinyl lately.
Fiddler.
But it's super good. I feel, would really like a song called Waste Coast.
Okay.
It kind of, you know, you should just check it out. It's really good.
I'm gonna, and I think our Let's Go audience should too.
So, Chris, how can people get a hold of you, like follow you, see you on social media, if that's even an outlet? You're like,
oh, geez. So, I don't know. I am not super into like the social media scene. I mean, I have them, and I don't really like promote it super hard because it's not like I'm in like a band that I really have to like focus on getting myself out there. But I guess my Instagram is at Chris Qualls. My Twitter actually has an underscore in it, so Chris_Qualls. My Facebook, don't bother because I won't add you if I don't know you. Yeah. I feel like if you want to come find me, come out to Echo Park and we'll talk in person.
there you go. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on, dude. It was fun. It was nice for you just to participate with the whole show. That was cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that I could actually be a part of it. I listen to you guys actually a bunch when I'm driving around on my motorcycle on my headphones, and it's like, oh, I get to be a part of these guys' world because you guys don't know, but we've all been friends for a long time. So it's kind of nice to stay connected in that way, and I'm very appreciative that you had me on. So thanks a bunch.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Chris, and we are done. So if you want to hang out with us online, hit us up at Let's Go Cast on Twitter and Let's Go Cast on Instagram, and email us at letsgocast@gmail.com, or you visit our website at www.letsgocast.com. I'm Justin.
I'm Kelly.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Where the shores have been, where music's